There is a peculiar truth about the human mind. It is never silent. Even in the deepest silence, it whispers thoughts, revives memories, and breathes life into feelings that seemed buried long ago. Among these thoughts, some come and go like passing clouds, while others take root and refuse to leave. Have you ever wondered why someone is always on your mind? Why, despite your best efforts, their presence lingers like a song that won't stop playing in your head? You may think it is love, obsession, unfinished business, or even fate. But in the teachings of Zen and Buddhist wisdom, the answer is far simpler, yet infinitely profound. There are two primary reasons why someone stays in your mind. One, you have attached a part of your identity to them. Two, they hold an unresolved emotional lesson for you. Before we begin our journey into the depths of this truth, consider this: the mind does not cling to anything without reason. Just as a river does not stop flowing unless an obstacle obstructs its path, or your thoughts do not return to someone without an attachment or a lesson waiting to be understood. Let us now dive into a story that reveals the nature of this non-attachment and the path to liberation from the thoughts that refuse to leave. There was once a man who had been practicing Zen for many years. He lived a life of simplicity, tending to a small tea house where travelers would stop to rest. His days were filled with stillness, the sound of boiling water and the quiet rustling of the wind through the trees. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a traveler entered the tea house. She was a woman with a thoughtful gaze, her eyes carrying stories untold. She sat in silence, watching as the tea was prepared. The man, having served countless travelers, should have regarded her as just another passerby. Yet, something was different. As he poured the tea into her cup, he felt a tremor in his heart, as if meeting someone he had long forgotten. She smiled gently, took a sip, and spoke. Why is it that some faces are never forgotten, while others vanish like mist? The man hesitated, for the question struck him deeply. He had no answer. Days passed, then weeks. The woman had long gone, but her presence lingered in his mind. He found himself thinking of her at dawn, at dusk, and even in the silence of midnight. It disturbed him. After all his years of Zen practice, why could he not let go of a single encounter? The more he tried to push the thought away, the stronger it returned. One evening, his old teacher came to visit the tea house. Sensing his disciples' unrest, the teacher asked, "What troubles your mind?" The man hesitated before admitting, "A traveler came through my tea house. I served her tea, and she left. Yet she remains in my thoughts, as though she never truly departed. I do not understand why." The teacher chuckled softly and said, "Let us examine this together. The first reason, you have attached a part of your identity to them." The teacher asked, "When you think of her, what do you feel?" The man replied, "Strange longing, as if I lost something before I even had it." The teacher nodded, and what is it that you lost?" The man thought for a moment before answering, perhaps a possibility. The feeling that I should have said more, done more, asked more. The teacher smiled. Ah, then it is not a traveler you are holding on to. It is the version of yourself that you never became in her presence. The man was silent. The teacher continued, when someone stays in our thoughts as old, it is often because we have attached a piece of our identity to them. We believe that if we had done something differently, spoken differently, acted differently, our life would have changed. But this is an illusion. The man frowned. An illusion. The teacher lifted the teapot and poured the last few drops of tea into a cup. Look at this tea. It is gone. Can you still drink it? The man shook his head. Yet, if you regret not savoring the last sip, your mind will continue to taste it, even though it no longer exists. The man slowly began to understand. He was not attached to the traveler. He was attached to the unspoken words, the unsaid thoughts, the imagined possibilities that never came to be, and so she remained in his mind, not as herself, but as the ghost of his own unrealized self. The second reason they hold an unresolved emotional lesson for you. The teacher then asked, what lesson does she bring you? The man hesitated. A lesson. The teacher gestured toward the garden outside. Look at the wind. Carries leaves from one place to another, never asking where they should land. When you hold on to someone in your mind, it is because they have stirred something within you that remains unsettled. What is unsettled in you? The man thought deeply. He realized that her presence had awakened a question he had long ignored. What is missing in me that I seek in another? The teacher nodded. That is the lesson. The traveler was a mirror reflecting back to him his own incompleteness. He had spent years practicing Zen, believing himself to be free from attachments. Yet, a single encounter had revealed the truth. He had never truly faced his own longing for connection, for understanding, for a presence that did not disappear like passing clouds. And so, the lesson was this. The people who stay in our minds the longest are the ones who reveal the gaps in our understanding. They are the teachers we did not expect but desperately needed. Letting go, the teacher poured a fresh cup of tea and placed it before his disciple. And when you accept that you did not lose anything, and when you learn the lesson they have brought you, the mind will release them. The man picked up the cup, closed his eyes, and breathed deeply. For the first time in weeks, he felt something shift inside him. The traveler was still in his memory, but now she was no longer a burden. She was a lesson, a moment, a drop of tea that had already been drunk, and just like that, the thought of her loosened its grip. The mind, once clouded with restless echoes, returned to its natural state, still, vast and free. The mind is like a garden, it grows what we plant. When someone lingers in our thoughts, it is because we have unknowingly sound their presence within us. But the question remains, did we plant them there out of love, longing, regret, or unfinished lessons? Buddhist And Zen philosophy teach that attachment is the root of suffering. The more we hold on to a thought, the more power it gains over us. But does this mean we should force ourselves to forget? No. Forgetting is not the path, understanding is. Let us break down the two reasons why someone remains on your mind and how to bring peace to the restless heart. One, the identity trap, releasing the self that never was. Many people assume that thinking about someone repeatedly means they are destined to be in their life. This is a false assumption. The mind does not cling to people, it clings to experiences, emotions, and possibilities. When we attach a part of our identity to someone, it is not that we miss, it is the version of ourselves that we believe could have existed with them. We imagine, if only I had spoken up, things would be different. We believe, if only they had stayed, I would be happier. We convince ourselves, if I stop thinking about them, I will lose a part of myself. But none of these are true. A traveler passes through your life, just as wind passes through trees. The tree does not chase the wind, it simply bends and lets it pass. And, you are not incomplete without them, because the person you think you could have been with them is just an illusion. The self you long for never truly existed. To free yourself, you must see this clearly. The past cannot be changed. The present is all that exists. Who you are now is enough. When you realize this, the mind no longer has a reason to hold on to. The unresolved lesson, understanding the purpose of their presence. Buddhism teaches that people come into our lives as either mirrors or lessons. A mirror reflects something we refuse to see within ourselves. A lesson reveals something we need to learn. If someone is always on your mind, ask, what part of myself do they mirror? What lesson do they bring that I have not yet understood? For example, if you cannot stop thinking about someone who left, perhaps the lesson is impermanence. The truth that everything changes and nothing can be possessed. If you keep thinking about someone who hurt you, the lesson may be forgiveness, not for their sake, but to free yourself. If you obsess over someone who never truly saw you, the lesson may be self-worth. Realizing that value is not determined by another's recognition. Once the lesson is fully learned, the mind no longer needs to hold on to them. Detaching without hatred, many people try to let go by forcing themselves to forget. But this only creates more suffering. You cannot erase someone from your mind by fighting against their presence. The harder you push them away, the deeper they sink. The path to peace is not through suppression, but through acceptance. Zen teaches that thoughts are like clouds. They come and go. You are not the cloud, you are the sky. When someone lingers in your mind, do not resist. Instead, 1. Observe your thoughts without judgment. See them as passing clouds. 2. Ask yourself what attachment or lesson keeps them there. 3. Accept their presence, learn the lesson, and let them go naturally. This does not mean you will never think of them again. It means that when you do, there will be no longing, no suffering. just a quiet recognition that they were a part of your journey. The river and the stone, imagine your mind as a flowing river. When someone enters your life, they are like a stone thrown into the water. At first, the ripples spread, disturbing the surface. But with time, the river continues to flow, and the stone either settles or is carried away. If someone remains in your thoughts, it means the stone has not yet settled. The water is still disturbed, but the river does not need to fight the stone. It simply keeps flowing, and one day, without force, without struggle, the river is clear again. This is how you let go, not by forgetting, not by fighting, but by flowing forward. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.